Hello and welcome, Exiles, to the second update to the bow Trickster. As you'll notice, we made a lot of upgrades. We're now at 23,000 energy shield. Previously, we were at 17k. We're now level 97, so a lot of that ES was just getting levels, but it was also upgrading two additional large cluster jewels, as well as you may notice I did a bit of a tree swap, because right now I'm testing out a skill, Scourge Arrow of the Menace, which I believe works with Point Blank well if we're doing Arrow Nova and we're doing Toxic Rain of the Spore Burst. This is just what we're currently testing out. I don't know if this is the best thing to use right now, but right now we're testing out and it's working fairly well. I'm going to continue to play with different skills and see what I like the most, but right now this is the thing we're testing. On top of that, we have made a better helmet for a bit more ES. I believe we upgraded our chest piece. We are now at suppress cap due to having suppressed tattoos, and we have ourselves a goal. 30k ES, Tormented, Quad, Ghosted, Feared on a voided map, and we're pushing towards it. As you notice, we opened the video here with a Quad, Ghosted, Feared, and we're almost there. We're getting closer to the level of tank we need to consistently do that in a voided map. In a non-voided map, I felt safe enough to do it, but obviously there were close calls there where I would have been like, oh, if I was in a voided map, I'd be really freaking scared right now. And we need to up the defense a little bit, because you can do a voided map. Maybe you make 100 divine profit from selling the mage build or whatever you get, but this character is already multiple mirrors of investment at this point, and if it dies, I will have needed to succeeded like 15, 20 maps or whatever it is to just pay for the investment. So the idea is, if I go into that voided map, I want to be sure I'm going to come out a winner. Even if internet fails me or whatever crashes, I want to make sure my character is not going to die. That's the goal. Granted, you might end up seeing my name in lights as a character who dies, or maybe I'll make a video where I did some voided maps and it didn't go well. But we're progressing. That's what we're going for. All right, now I have some abomination maps for the time being. I'm getting XP using an atlas like this, where I'm just kind of farming some monster quant and gold. Steve is still going hard. Classic. And let's get into showcasing you guys what it looks like for mapping. Right now, it's pretty chill. I just shooting the Toxic Rain up in the air with Arrow Nova. I believe with GMP, it would be a bit better for clear, because this adds a bit of a delay for the arrow to go like up in the sky and then down on the ground and then the pods burst, so it's delayed. It's not the greatest in terms of that delay. In the future, I might just swap to regular GMP, but for right now, I'm doing the Arrow Nova, which seems to place the pods in a decent pattern around the enemy, where it's likely for a lot of the pods to all hit. Whether or not that's true or whether or not I'm coping, I don't really know. But the idea is, we can go into a map like this with gain 100, 300%, and, you know, minus suppress, and a lot of mods that brick our character, and we can still hopefully come out without any relative difficulty. So far, I've managed to die on this character a total of 7 times while leveling due to, oh, I rolled this map. I was just testing out what map mods I could and couldn't do. One of the map mods I ran with was the one that guarantees that the enemies remove 18% of my ES on hit. This map ends up proccing a lot of hits. You'll notice everything's hitting me a bunch of times, and when you give the enemies the ability to guarantee hit you for 20% of your life pool, no matter how small their hits are, that's a bit dangerous. But we've learned our lesson. We're starting to pick our mods a little bit more carefully. The guaranteed removal of life on a boss like this, where they just hit you a ton of times with spells, probably not the best idea. The 50% less defense mod, when you almost multiply the difficulty of the map by 2, takes you to like 90% less defense. Obviously, if we go from 20k ES to 2k ES, that'd be problematic. But for the most part, we can do a very large amount of these mods. Action speed mods, petrify statues, drowning orbs, all that stuff, don't really care. Ground effects doesn't really matter too much. We just kind of just cruise. We turn off our brain, we shoot some arrows, and we cruise. I got a phasing on Kill Jewel now, so we have pretty consistent phasing while mapping, and that feels fantastic. And whenever we're doing this map, we get a lot of these mods up here, which the downsides aren't usually very much a problem for us. If you look at them, there aren't normally things that matter too much. Chilled Ground doesn't matter. Sap really doesn't matter. A lot of times they'll give you mods like minus cold lightning res. That doesn't matter. We're all fire based. They'll give you mods like reduced defense per frenzy charge. We have a lot of increased ES. That would take us from about 23k to about 20k ES, losing like 90% defense. It's not the end of the world. Our character will cruise just fine. So the character so far, fantastic for T17s. I use an average of like 1, maybe 2 chaos per map, just if there's mods I don't want to run. Like if I get double pink mods, I might just be like, I'd rather not take that much extra time to kill enemies. But as far as damage mods and stuff like that, this can run most of them pretty easily without too much difficulty. So the character right now,
cruising on T17s, annihilates Ubers, so to speak. I guess I can showcase you what an Uber looks like right now for this character. The only really hurdle I have left to jump that is really the last checkpoint is, can I do that voided map? So here's an Uber Exarch real quick, give you guys a little showcase of what this looks like doing an Uber Exarch. There's not too much things that, oh, I should mention, oh, for the video, I played with Regen Flask on, but for 99% of my gameplay, I've been running with a Rarity Flask just to farm gold. And when I do that, I unspec out a Zealot's Oath, and I go over and I grab a Power Charge and 38. So it's a bit of a respec based on if you're trying to do hard content, and for that Tormented Feared, I did spec for the regen just so I could take advantage of the Regen Flask. Now you'll notice, you might think, Lance, what are you doing for ailments? What's your solution? Number one, for Ignite, specifically, we're taking all fire damage. We have immune to Ignite from a Watcher's Eye. Number two, if we have any source of chill or freeze ground, stuff like that, we are Trickster one step ahead. One of my favorite Ascendancy nodes. Gives us the ability to essentially ignore all action speed things, and that includes freeze and chill. And then after that, you have things like Sap. If we lose a little bit of damage, I don't care, and Sap is rare to begin with. And I want to point another thing out. When you take 100% of lightning and cold as fire, enemies cannot inflict shock or sap or chill or freeze of those. They can't inflict those ailments anyways, unless they have a mod that says all damage can do this, which that is a very rare thing. So for right now, technically I'm not shock immune, but in most circumstances, it doesn't matter because they can't shock me. It's basically just like if I ran a map with shocked ground, that would be problematic. Or, for example, the Eater. Now let's get this guy to do some like real skills, attack him a little bit, just so he starts using some actual skills and not just annihilation real quick here. Yeah, so that's what it looks like when you're doing an Uber boss. Let him phase. Let him phase. I guess he's gonna blow up on us. That's what it looks like when he does that. All right, now let's go ahead. I think I mistimed that Immortal Call, by the way. I need to fix my gems a little bit so I have a Immortal Call with duration. But this is what it looks like when we're doing an Uber Exarch. It's most things we can just ignore, and this is the case for pretty much all the Ubers. I still need to test out Uber Maven and Uber Eater. I'm not sure. I don't think we have enough tank to do the Uber Eater Ultimate Nuke yet, but we will. I'm pretty sure we'll get to that point with the character. So let's go ahead and finish him off right now, unless he phases real quick. Because sometimes he does like the really quick phase if you already did damage to him. Now we get to call him. Oh, Omniscience. If only this was last league, or not this league, because this thing is tanked in price. It's still worth 2 divines, so I'm kind of happy about it. But anyways, that is an Uber Exarch. I was getting a little bit distracted. As for the ailment thing, eventually I will either do a Void Shock on my boots or a Void Shock via a Flask suffix, which would allow us to get that ailment immunity for things like Shock Ground. But for the time being, I've been playing with no shock immunity just to see how often I get shocked. It just doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen. It's basically the only times I get shocked is I click the altar that says reflect ailment. My character shocks enemies and thus reflects the shock back to me. But outside that, my character, I just don't get shocked. And that's because it's shock ground or it's nothing. Kind of a cool little feature that I didn't really appreciate last time I did a res conversion, but it does work out quite well to be able to take all your damage as one ailment because it makes it so, for the most part, enemies can inflict those other ailments unless they have some special mod that allows them to apply an ailment to you without dealing that damage type to you, if that makes sense. Anyways, this is the current iteration of the character. I'm going to keep trying to upgrade it, pour more currency into it, see how we can push this character. We have goals, we have aspirations. Hopefully you enjoyed the journey. As always, thanks for watching, Exiles. Take care, and peace out. Have a good one.